Welcome back, Levi here. It's the video you all been waiting for, turning on them abs. Hopefully by now you have joined us for our first 4 sessions. First resistance, muscle balancing, fascia, integrating all of those concepts. Now, we're into the sweet piece, getting this to turn on and engage. Ideally, my thought about abs is that I don't want people to constantly focus on posture all the time, trying to fix it in their day-to-day. I'd rather give you a sweet little amount of time where you're focused on addressing these things and then you can go about your day not thinking about them. Ideally, you will just at one point feel your abs engage and turn on, and it will be a really impactful moment. So this is how we begin to establish that. We're going to show you a simple move that will allow that to begin to start to stabilize, start to turn on. By now you've done all the groundwork needed to get to here. So trust your work, let's dive in. Alright, so this video, this session ends up being pretty simple. By now you've gotten all of what we need to kind of get your mind on board with how these things work. By now, hopefully, your paradigm about the body will have shifted a bit in ways that will really empower you to take charge and master your movement, your mind, the interplay between those two. And I want to get it to a point where it makes sense as to why your abs are turning on. You don't even have to understand the stuff to know why, but I like to explain that stuff because I feel like that's the empowering piece. Ideally, in the long run, you're just come and work with me to get these empowering pieces of information in ways that you can implement. I have no intention to make you dependent on having to come to me to constantly fix a similar problem. My goal is, if you have a problem, you come and learn about it, you know how to fix it, now you're empowered to deal with that for the rest of your beautiful lives. So, turning on those abs, we have already talked about first resistance, so it's the same with this. As you go into any of these movements, you're listening to the body. Awareness, that's number 1, foundational. The next thing is muscle balancing, joint balancing, as it pairs with fascia. So if you have effectively been doing that pelvic tuck, that psoas lunge, we're already starting to reposition this structure so that your abs can turn on. So we talked about in the past that when your hip flexors are tight, this is the last video number 4, I believe. When they're tight, they're going to be pulling your lumbar spine forward and down, which creates this, it's called an anterior pelvic tilt. Now, if you can imagine with my abs, if I try to do something to turn them on here, they're being resisted not only by my hip flexors, but by my neurology, by my brain. I think about it like a volume control. When we're in neutral, we have the capability to use the full volume for all of the muscles that connect to this structure. But when we are out of neutral, let's say in a posterior pelvic tilt, our hip flexors are turned on, and so our abdomen and glutes are turned off, or at least turned down. You still have a great amount of strength potential in there, but you cannot access it until we address the thing that is shutting it down, which we addressed in video number 2 with the pelvic tuck. So we start by addressing that alignment with some basic pelvic tucks lying on the floor, like Hannah and myself showed you in the couple videos ago. And then we begin to open up that hip flexor structure with that psoas lunge like we did in the last video, video number 4. So with that, all of that established, we can now effectively begin to turn on the abdomen because we have unlocked these structures, not just physiologically, but neurologically. So in a moment, we're going to get down to the floor, show you something very simple. Again, with any of this, do your best without going into pain, without going into guarding. First resistance, you're going to be seeing some benefits, some effects from that. If you can get up and just hold it for a second, that's fine. Relax, take a few deep breaths, do it again. Spend some time each day getting these to turn on. You're going to notice the change and impact in your life. Your abs stabilizing around your spine are very important. Your brain will begin to feel safer because all of this will be protected through your spine. It's going to be bringing a lot of relaxation and peace to your vital organs here, or around your stomach, your guts, your heart, your lungs. As your abs stabilize, all of this can actually really begin to relax, which brings your whole body into a better state of relaxation, well-being. It takes you away from fight, flight, or freeze responses, which are stress responses, and it puts you more in a restorative type of phase, where your body is just replenishing and healing like it needs to be. It might sound silly and crazy, but these simple things help to align your body, get it opened up, get it healing like it should. Let's get down and show you this ab exercise. Welcome back. You ready to turn them abs on? We have worked really hard in the last 4 sessions to all sorts of things to understand first resistance, understand joint balancing, working with pelvic tuck, fascial integration, so talking about the global versus the local system. And that we did some of the arm lift, the bending the legs, showing you how it's all connected. The 4th one is when we join all those together, did the psoas lunge. Now that we have gone through all the key elements to level out your pelvis, at least in a very basic ground framework way, you should be good to start turning on your abs, which is super exciting because it's not that complicated. Hopefully we've taken a lot of very complicated steps, made them really simple for you. Now you have a few things to do at home. So if you've done the videos, as we've been walking through them, you should start to feel your abs turn on with this next move. If you haven't done them and you have a hard time finding this move, go back and do some of the original videos. They will help get you to this place. Otherwise, this knowledge is really helpful. Very simple to do, should be accessible to anyone, everyone. Get a padded surface. You can be on the floor on the carpet. If you need a towel or something under your knees just to give you a little barrier, that's fine. You can do it in your bed, you can do it on the couch. If none of those are really great options for you, then just do your best with it. I think that this should be a move that most people should be able to do. So if you're feeling pains, resistance anywhere, listen to that. Otherwise, let's get started. So Hannah, I'm gonna have you go ahead and get into a crawling position. So your hands will be directly under your shoulders, your knees will be directly under your hips.
Does that look right?
Yep, that looks good. And as far as what you're doing with your toes, you can either point them out or pull them under. Either of those is fine. If one of those is more comfortable than the other, do that one. If you find this pulled under one is doable, do that because it's going to help you lift here in a minute. So I call this the knee lift hold. There's a move called cat-cow. Hannah, do you know cat-cow?
Yeah, it's like this.
Yeah, so cat is curving your spine, cow is dropping and arching your spine. Most people are familiar with that move. We're going to pick somewhere right in between cat-cow with a neutral spine. So I call it the girdle. So putting on a girdle is not going to necessarily cause you to arch your back or drop it. It's actually going to cause you to solidify your abs around it, tightening like a girdle. So Hannah, I'm going to have you think about pulling your belly button into your spine. Do you see how automatically that neutralized her spine and created some good tension around here to stabilize her spine? What does that feel like in your body, Hannah?
Feels strong.
Perfect. Some engagement happening?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to have you actually move your knees forward just a bit to be under your hips.
Is it okay if I do a fist like this?
Yeah, you can do fists too. If you're having some wrist issues, fists are fine. If you have any little handles to hold on to, you can do those. You may need to elevate your feet a little bit. Otherwise, you'll still be getting good benefit. So go ahead and girdle again, belly button to your spine. Perfect. Creates the perfect position. And now the knee lift hold, basically with your toes curled under, you can do this with toes pointed, but for Hannah, toes curled under, I'm going to have you barely begin, just like you're taking that girdle in tighter. And as you get as tight as you can, you're lifting it towards the ceiling to where your knees slowly start to come off the ground. And so start to lift your knees. And it doesn't even have to come higher than that. But in that, all of her abdomen are going to start protecting and solidifying around her spine. And it's going to start training them to turn on. Again, really simple move that pretty much anyone I've ever worked with has been able to do it. And I work with a lot of very complex pain cases. So this is accessible. You don't even have to lift off your knees. Just the intention of lifting is going to begin to engage your abs around your spine. What does that feel like?
It feels good. It feels like everything's engaging.
Yeah.
Everything.
And it feels doable, right?
It feels doable, yeah.
This is your first time.
It's just light movement.
So this is truly the first time I've actually put Hannah in this position. I kind of like throwing these curveballs at her because her response is organic, just like it's going to be for you at home. So basically what I'm going to have her keep doing is girdle and tightening that girdle into her knees when we lift, and holding it, just hovering off the ground for as long as she feels comfortable. Before stress starts kicking in, she's going to settle in, take a few deep breaths, reset, do it again. You can work up to being able to do this and hold it for 1, 2, 3 minutes if you really have some gusto, and take a few weeks to work on developing this. This move alone, with the other videos that we have prepped you with, building up to this point, will help your abs turn on. And my hope is at some point you'll be walking around the house or around town and suddenly your abs will turn on and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is working. My body is engaging in new ways. I feel stronger. I feel more stacked over my pelvis. I feel lighter in my movements. Things are just feeling overall less stressful and more freeing. You'll probably even feel it in your emotions. Some of you will just feel a little bit more uplifted. This is just the beginning. There are so many more levels to this that are really exciting, but this is a piece I'm really excited to offer you because it is foundational. It can really begin to change your life. You're doing a great job with it. With this being your first experience in it, what are some thoughts you might have for someone brand new to doing this?
Let's see. Can we do it again with that in mind? Some thoughts I have are that to really incorporate the breath awareness that you had talked about previously. I'm finding that really helpful in engaging this movement.
Nice.
And really focusing my breath to be towards this, the abdominal area that you talked about and towards the hips. And so I'm finding that really helpful. And then also just focusing on tucking the tailbone. Is that proper?
It is.
And tucking the tailbone like we had talked about in a previous video. And the visualization that you gave is helping me of like a scared dog. And bringing the tail between the legs is helping me engage that movement a lot better.
So this brings up two good points. If you have very tight hip flexors, doing a little bit of a pelvic tuck in this position, you should feel your abs kicking more. So do that up until the point that if you feel it in your lower back, chill out. Don't do it quite so much. Get that girdle nice and tight. If you're having a hard time finding your abs, tuck your hips a little bit. You'll probably find them want to engage and turn on. The other piece Hannah mentioned is the breath. So here's a nice trick for some of you who have a hard time lifting off the floor and a hard time engaging your abs. Hannah, if you would lie on your back for a quick second.
Sure.
Just go all the way down this way. Hands on your belly. I want you just to take a normal breath. In and out. You can do this at home. This is just to emphasize breathing with exercise. So we're going to use it for an activation movement versus a stretching movement. So the stretching breath was something like this. But our activation breath is something like this. And let me explain the difference just to get you to feel it. So if you're on your back, hands on the belly, I'm going to blow out a big candle. And now do it again, even harder and faster. What do you feel under your hands? As far as your abs, do you feel them engaging more versus when you just regularly breathe?
Yeah, they do engage more. Yeah.
So we can actually neurologically hack into the abs, get them to engage because they're trying to help us with breathing, solidify around our spine. So when Hannah is in that quadruped position, could you go back to the knee?
Yeah.
And let's hold. If you can't lift it and hold it, but you want to work on doing repetitions of it, quick bursts, I'm going to have Hannah go into the girdle position. And as she's taking a deep breath in, I'm going to have her take a short breath out as she just barely lifts her knees for a second. And then come down and relax. And then breathe in. Short breath out, lift your knees. And relax. Do you feel that engaging your abs, turning them on?
Yeah, that's really helpful.
So it's a quick hack that you can do at home to begin to develop working towards a hold. Once you get the hold, start to hold it as long as you're comfortable with and work your way up, even up into the higher times of 3 minutes. Once you can hold this for 3 minutes at a time, you're going to have some really engaged abdomen. One of the main ones we're working with is a muscle called transverse abdominis. So I'm going to kneel it here for a minute. You have rectus abdominis, these two columns. You have two directions of obliques, then you have transverse abdominis. Transverse is like your big belt, your girdle. That's why I call this the girdle. It actually helps to stabilize your organs and give you some stability through all the way from your back to your front. So that's what we're turning on. On most people, that muscle is disengaged. Engaging this muscle really neurologically helps to create stability in your organs, stability with your spine, activating your abdomen. It's a very simple way to do it. You can get away with doing a little bit of this every day, to be honest. So give it a try. Turn on them abs. It's been so good working with you. We have so many more videos coming at you. Subscribe, join, follow us, send us some comments, give us some feedback. What is this doing for your life? And we're excited to walk you through this. This has been some stuff that has changed my life, that I've spent years, basically my lifetime studying and learning, and my hope is to get it to you as simply as and effective as possible so that you can get to where I am quicker than it took me. Thank you, Anna, for joining us. It's been really great working and talking with you all. See you soon. Thank you again for joining us. It has been awesome getting to spend some time with you. Join us, like, subscribe. There's buttons all over this place. Depending on what platform we're on, click like, click thumbs up. Leave a comment as to what it's done in your body. Kind things only, people. And we look forward to having you join in more videos. Thank you. Have a great life.